I'd met Abdul Kalam back in Udaipur in school. A child is not supposed to have degree after 2 years, probably, or 3 years maybe. Every human being has these things where three things build a human being. I became such good friends with a guy who spoke only Italian while I spoke only English or Hindi. And yet I would sometimes go delivering pizzas with him.
Wow.
Right? We were not focused on hiring people from hotel management background.
Everyone, welcome to No Idea Whatsoever. Today I have with me Vaibhav Nigori, a keen food enthusiast from Udaipur. Vaibhav actually happened to study engineering from Bangalore, but moved back to start his entrepreneurial journey and started a chain of plant-based restaurants called Greener. Hi Vaibhav, welcome to No Idea Whatsoever.
Hi Devki, good to finally be on this.
I know it's been a long time. I had really had to follow up with you before you could come.
No, I really wanted to, but life has suddenly gotten super hectic, and I'm glad that we finally got together on this date. Yeah.
I'm glad. So, the first question I always ask everyone is, did you know what you were going to do when you grew up, or did you have no idea whatsoever?
Absolutely no idea whatsoever. I think back then and maybe even today, but I'm surely working on it to fix that, narrowing my avenues, my gaps, to finally figure out that this is the idea that makes sense. So
But what is it? So, how do you do that? Like, do you eliminate things you don't like doing, or do you eliminate things that don't make enough money? What is the way you eliminate what is not working for you?
I think the former, because I think money has never been a driving force. Sometimes it's just about, okay, I've had this thought. Do I need to pursue this correctly? And then finally say, okay, finally, this is not making sense. I don't have this skill. I don't have this skill. This is too much work. That is too much work. So I say, finally, okay, you know what? A balance in life is all I need. And what gives me that balance is what I go for.
It's funny you talk about balance because you did engineering.
Yeah.
So, how did that, how did you don't sound like an engineer, by the way. So,
I
how
could get
did you-
technical.
no, but how did you end up choosing engineering in your college? Like, what led you to do that? Because I know you studied in Bangalore and
Yeah. See, I grew up in a small town. I grew up in Udaipur. As a kid, all I cared about was playing sports.
yeah,
I was playing sports. I thought I'll make something in sports. But simultaneously, because I was good at my education, our Indian education system, our CBSC, you score well, the expectation of your surroundings, your parents, their social system is that this guy will be a doctor or an engineer. And it's even more stereotyped in smaller cities.
yeah.
So engineering was very natural to me because I was good at science. I was looking at everything very technically in life. Like I would sit and wind up things and I said, oh, this is some kind of experiment and I'm going to be some new form of scientist. And
So, did your parents really encourage you to pursue engineering, or was it quite an organic way of you just getting into it because?
I think it was organic. My parents, we're a business family. So
Okay.
my parents weren't really looking at what I wanted to pursue.
Okay.
The assumption was that, okay, you're good at science. So obviously the Indian system makes you choose a science or a
Stream,
commerce
yeah.
or a arts.
Correct.
And you choose one and the natural progression is engineering.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened. I traveled away from my home. Bangalore was fair distance, new culture, new people. I took the leap and went for it.
And I think that's what's really, I did arts, and it's interesting because once you choose a stream in school, you're just boxed into the career choices you have. You don't really know, well, you're not really given exposure to the fact that, even if you take science, there are lots of other things you can do, possibly.
You're right.
Was that something you suffered with?
100%. I had no idea what else I could do. I didn't know how to be a lawyer back then. I didn't know what were the career options in arts or maybe anthropology or
Yeah.
something else. This is what I passed out school in early 2000s, and the curriculum had no provision for you to explore another stream. So you're right, you put it up perfectly that if you're boxed into that stream, you have no choice but to follow within that. And if you're really smart and very curious, you start picking things here and there and then growing your abilities into those things.
Yeah. And did you have a career counselor in school who was like, Vaibhav, let's sit and talk about your.
I wish somebody knew me, and I wish I had a mentor to understand myself better so that I wouldn't get stuck in no idea whatsoever even then.
But obviously you did engineering, which is such a structured, uh, structured stream, and then now you're an entrepreneur. How has that journey been for you?
See, of course, engineering, I think it's something that a part of it a lot of kids must pursue because it opens up your mind into very rational thinking,
Sure.
very structured
Logical
thinking,
reasoning.
logical thinking.
Yes.
I mean, forget the specific subjects which are just more
Technical.
technical, but overall, it opens up your mind.
Yeah.
And with engineering, I knew, or I at least wanted to pursue something that was different. During school, end of school, I wanted to pursue an engineering degree in what do you say, something to do with space.
Okay. Wow.
So aerospace engineering was something I was curious about. I'd met Abdul Kalam back in Udaipur in school, and his background was aerospace.
Yeah.
And since then, like a complete fool and without a mentor or a guide, I was randomly writing to all of these aerospace institutes, which later I figured were just offering PhDs.
Wow.
But did I know that they don't take you in for undergraduate courses.
But then did you really? But if they don't take you, like you can only do a PhD, what is this? What is the path to get there? You have to first.
That's what I'm saying. I figured that a lot later. The path to that would be a mechanical engineering and a master's into that.
Do you think that's needed though to study space engineering or?
If our curriculum early years in science had more focus on subjects like these, I'm sure it's somewhere in CBC stacked below as a subject, but it just never comes up because the teachers probably aren't fully equipped to teach those kind of subjects.
Yeah.
But if they were there, of course. I mean, it's the stream of the future. I mean, look at the last 5 years. All big investments, all big startups in India have come out in the space industry.
Yeah. Correct.
And yet, very few people of my generation are part of that growth. We're all stuck in that IT boom,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Engineering, IT, tech, electronics. So, yeah, so structured engineering, I continued. I did take up a job which was different from I ever imagined.
Yeah.
And I still sort of continue it because it's completely different. It's one part of my life is what lets me learn about complete manufacturing industry.
Okay.
So I do work for an Italian organization, which was right after engineering and goes on until today because I've developed the market. But my intent there was to understand how everything around us is made.
Yeah.
How what you're wearing, whether it's your jewelry or it's your phone or it's your
Yeah.
iPad, how every component inside that is made. So this is the industry that makes it. So my vision was that for me to be knowing this better, I need to be connected to these industries, how the glass is made, how fabric is made. So I continued doing that while a big part of me was foodie. I love food, right? I grew up, since I was 5 years old, I was standing in the kitchen with my mother and helping her out and adding spices or masala. So
Wow.
food was something very inherent to me.
Yeah. I mean, you're from Udaipur. I'm sure food is like
Food
a
is
big part
yum.
of your life.
Yeah.
Now you run these plant-based
Correct.
restaurants called Greener. And, you've obviously started with one and then you've grown to different cities as well in the country. How were you always plant-based growing up?
Yeah, I grew up in a Jain family, and
Okay.
even though the concept of zero waste is more coined now,
Yeah.
but our household was a zero waste. The concepts like intermittent fasting was a part of our life because after sunset is something we don't
You're not
eat as a
supposed to eat.
family.
Yeah. Even now?
Now things have changed. Modern lifestyle has
Yeah.
screwed everything, and which is why I think it is that core value that I've retained from childhood is what has continued those healthy habits in me. Because otherwise it would have been damn difficult. It's very easy to be swayed into the
Absolutely.
age of abundance.
But did
That's
school
it.
ever encourage healthy eating, don't waste? Of course, you'll read about it, but was it like really inculcated in your value system or not? It was more of a family thing.
No. Back in the day, schools weren't focused about this. Even your tutors were understanding what the whole idea of sustainability was.
Absolutely.
Now I think schools are more focused about a more balanced, nutritious diet and teaching kids actively about how to preserve things and preserve the planet. And I think that's going to change a lot. But I do feel a lot of emphasis could be laid there to create better better outcomes for the future.
Yeah, definitely. And
Skills.
I mean, obviously, you've started a plant-based restaurant in a city like Delhi, which is all about food and the charts and the roadside stuff and
100%.
not very healthy eating as such, which is promoted. What were the challenges you faced when you first started a plant-based restaurant?
I mean, Delhi is a city where kebabs
Yeah,
and
exactly.
chole bhature
Yeah.
and
People come
lassi
very
is a
for that.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
You get a paratha and murtal with a stack of butter on
Yeah,
it,
I
right?
better hope everyone has health insurance.
I think that's something that definitely is needed. So the challenge, it was called foolish because you're in a city which is predominantly in love with its chicken, butter chicken.
Yeah,
right?
butter
It's-
chicken and
I
dal
don't know how
makhani and
good that is, but butter chicken, dal makhni is the
Yeah.
predominant food. However, I think because I've always cared about health, I've cared about fitness, health, that was
Yeah.
a part of my life. And my co-founders at Greener also were people who were consciously uh, moving forward in life, who had seen the age of abundance and wanted to bring about that impact in more people's lives. So I
Yeah.
said, okay, let's do this. Let's see the outcome. It was challenging to begin with. It's not that the business is going to flourish right away. You had to wait it out.
Absolutely. Just like any other business.
Yeah. I mean, if your goal, like whatever, even with you, your goal is a long-term impact.
Correct.
When the goal is long-term impact, you don't care about immediate gains.
Absolutely. That's
You
so
wait
well
it
put.
out.
Yeah. So, I mean, but when you first started, were you, was it, how did you design your menu and make it exciting for the people and make it sustainable and plant-based?
So of course, exciting. The worst problem with vegetarianism or plant-based lifestyle is that people think it's too healthy, so must not be tasty.
And eat at home.
Eat-
यही खाना है तो घर पे
Yeah,
खा
if
लो.
you're eating vegetarian, why are you spending money outside? So to break that myth, you had to make sure that the food looks sexy, tastes really good, and has a balance of texture and nutrition at the same time, right? So trying to create, emulate some of those meaty textures, I would say, because the goal was not to target vegetarians.
Yeah, of
The
course.
goal was to make a meat eater have one plant-based meal a week. If our goal was so small that with that goal, we were wanting to slowly bring about a change in this eating behavior. Of course, people were not confused initially that what is this? The terminology looks
Yeah.
new. The ingredients look new. What is Californian? Are you from California? Because, we called ourselves a California-style plant-based kitchen.
Yeah.
So, but then the whole community aspect of it and how we tried to connect all of our customers into this whole community who were driven towards a larger goal. And that is what sustained.
So you created a story that would really put your mission across, right? So people could resonate with it and then, say, yes, we want to actually make a difference.
Yeah. And we were at also that age where more and more people were alternate life seekers. These were creative professionals. These were people who were well-traveled, well-exposed,
Yes.
and they were developing a natural conscience towards a form of life. And they found this place to be their home. So
Correct.
they found comfort in it, they connected with it. And usually these change makers, these passionate individuals are such strong voices because they've gone past their no idea whatsoever.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
So they become real influencers,
I
real
agree
micro
with you.
influencers.
Yes, absolutely.
And which is what helped us take this brand from one outlet to probably a 7 outlet, and maybe if we're going at the pace that we want to, we'll be across India.
No, and I think now, especially with the level of information about this topic, everyone is making a conscious decision to do it, But do you think being plant-based really helps the environment?
Of course it does. I mean, environment for sure. If you can simply cut down the amount of dairy, I mean, dairy industry is creating massive havoc to the
Yeah, I
environment.
was reading that, Indians consume 0.9 pounds of dairy on a daily basis, which is actually 33% more than the world's population. That's just nuts.
That's nuts. And they don't even realize the impact of it because the whole dairy consumption is so ingrained
Yeah,
in
totally.
our family life
Absolutely.
that even it's we're the weirdest animal group ever because a lactating mother is only supposed to provide milk at till a certain age.
Yeah.
A child is not supposed to have
Cow.
dairy after
Yeah.
2 years, probably, or 3 years maybe.
Yeah.
And there is enough nutrition in plant-based diets which can fulfill all those nutritive values. So I think awareness is something we lack. We don't understand the impact of it because culturally speaking, cows are very important to us religious,
Yes.
right? So
Totally. It's in our culture to have cow milk, you know, but even in temples you get it. So all our mithais are made of ghee.
yeah,
All the prasad is made of that.
I mean, you find the best of the kachoris and fried in these
Desi ghee
desi
mein bana
country,
hai.
right?
Yeah, correct.
So to take that away and say that, listen, just a couple of days ago, I was explaining to my younger kid who is giving up eggs because he considers that non-vegetarian. And I was explaining to him that if you're giving up that, you should consider giving up dairy as well because
Correct.
both are coming out of animals.
Yeah.
Both are things you're not supposed to consume. And
Even eggs?
because of certain reasons. I don't want to get very technical on that. But yeah, I mean, eggs are some things that plant-based diets don't encourage
Correct.
because they are animal product. So, I mean, the story behind is just the way it impacts the environment, the way it impacts the animal. The animals live in misery
Yes.
and you want to end that misery. So if you start explaining that to kids at an early age, because kids have that, they have empathy,
Absolutely.
they have kindness
Yes.
ingrained in them. So for them to understand that how it is making somebody else miserable, which is a life, they will understand that, okay, this is planet comes secondary for them because it's too early for them to understand planetary.
Absolutely. I think for them it's more that don't hurt someone or don't make someone feel bad, which is all, yeah, absolutely. It's all empathy. But you know, there are lots of myths around the fact that, you know, you're non-vegetarian, for example, protein comes mostly from eating chicken and meat and things like that. So do plant-based diets really support enough protein?
I mean, we've got legumes, we've got a bunch of nuts. So I think minerals and proteins are in
Covered.
abundance.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever the new metrics say that you should have per gram per kilo of your weight as protein intake, and hence the supplement industry has kind of exploded.
Absolutely.
I mean, I have grown up vegetarian. I've always worked out in gyms. I've built good quality muscle. I was proud of that. I no longer am, but never had to have supplements. All I had to depend was on legumes, and our legumes are enough. Your beans, your rajmas, your dals, your all of those are just enough to give you the protein and nutrition that your body needs.
And the schools, you know, that now you're obviously we pick up so many things in schools, right? Aside from, even say if our parents are vegetarian at home, there's so many times, and because you're studying abroad or something, you end up eating meat or things like that. But more than anything, I think that is a secondary issue, which of course is very personal, but it is more about inculcating healthy eating habits. You know, do you work with any schools where, you know, that you're invited to talk about being plant-based or eating healthy, or conduct any workshops at Greener, for example?
So I agree to your point where schools do play a secondary role because essentially after those 5 hours at school, it's the rest of the 19 hours at home which really
Yeah.
impact. But I think schools should not take this moral high stand of saying that plant-based versus meat.
Yes.
They should much rather focus on nutrition
Absolutely.
and what a balanced diet could be or should be. Of course, create a proper program to make kids aware of what is the word nutrition and how it helps, whether your organ health or your mental health or your emotional health or your mood swings. So I think that curriculum is due in our
Yeah, because there is
general
nothing like
education.
that.
We all have physical education, but then connected to why physical education is necessary. How could you change yourself internally
Yeah.
to change yourself externally?
Absolutely.
And to come to the point where Greener has been wanting to be this voice at schools, we've never figured out how, but recently we participated or have enrolled with an NGO
Okay.
started by So Good Farms, where they take up some government schools and they run programs there, educating
Wow.
kids about not just agriculture, but general life skills, nutritional values. So we go do summer programs there, but it's not a structured program which can be a curriculum.
Okay. No, of course. It's just mostly, I guess, making kids aware
Yeah.
of things and giving them the correct options. And then, of course, the rest is essentially dependent. You can't learn everything, but these are very important things to learn because this is pretty much what makes us function a certain way every single day of our lives.
Yeah. I mean, it's your nutrition is your nurturing, right?
Yeah.
It is what
Absolutely.
keeps you going for longer. I mean, we have all sorts of supplements wanting us to look younger or live longer. But if your core itself from the beginning, from early school days, if you start focusing on eating the right things, you'll be better.
Absolutely.
I mean, I completely see these. It baffles me or angers me to a point when I see these small kiosks outside school selling packaged food.
Yeah, I know that's horrible.
That's as bad as selling
Actually,
cigarettes and
increasing
alcohol.
now.
Yeah.
It's increasing. Somewhere we talk so much about eating healthy, but at the same time, I see so many different brands coming up with fast food. That fast food culture never existed in India, which is also tremendously growing actually.
Fast food and more than that, processed packaged food.
Yeah, correct.
I think India has a law that all schools and the surroundings should not be allowed to have a cigarette shop
Yes.
or an alcohol shop, but they have put no restriction on packaged goods, which I think is an equally harmful substance because you're consuming a bunch of chemicals,
Yeah.
something that needs to be paid attention to. But, a lot of teachers who've now become guests at Green Earth sometimes do ask us to come and talk to students in their schools, but it's just a one-off thing.
Yeah.
It's not structured again.
But how do the students react to that?
It's still new to them. The
Yeah.
concept is new to them. Of course, it's how their families have raised them, so they just understand that I'm a vegetarian. I come from a vegetarian family.
Yeah.
So the concept of nutrition and why vegetarianism or versus why a meat-eating lifestyle is something that they don't understand. It's
Yeah.
something they're used to doing, so they're following a pattern.
But coming back to your entrepreneurial journey, what are the skills that you think the school didn't teach you, for example, that you had to develop along the way?
Interesting. I don't think schools teach you the skills to be an entrepreneur, to be honest. The school just wants you to be a disciplined individual with the capability of absorbing what you see around, right? I mean, every human being has these things where three things build a human being. And this is something I've stolen from a 17th century French philosopher where he says nature, nurture, and surroundings are what build you, right? Nature is how we're born as. Nurture is what we're taught. And surrounding is what we see and observe with friends, with peer group. So entrepreneurship and subjects like that, I don't think schools can teach you. If it's an inclination in you to do something, you will do something. If there's hunger and fire in you to do something, whether it's your ikigai or whether it's your greed for something more, you will do it and you will find a way to do it. So, of course, my first interest into food came about because working with the Italians, I used to spend a lot of time after my internship standing outside a pizzeria and observing how pizzas were made. I became such good friends with a guy who spoke only Italian while I spoke only English or Hindi. And yet I would sometimes go delivering pizzas with him,
Wow.
right? Because I was just so connected.
Yeah.
So all since that day I wanted was to open a small pizzeria of mine. But I was not in that position because of that wanting one cookie in each hand kind of a balance.
Correct.
I could never purely become a solo entrepreneur. So I would look for a partner who's got similar interests
Yeah.
to dive into the world of entrepreneurship, which eventually came about. But yeah, this is the past 15 years I've been wanting to do something with food because I just love eating food. It's nothing else.
But you seem to be such a curious, creative person. And I think these are skills that the schools can really instill in you from a young age because so many times, we have grown up. I grew up with a lot of, not being able to ask too many questions in the classroom because the teacher obviously has 35, 40 minutes to teach a classroom. And, But the more I think independent learning that is encouraged, and if you're allowed to make mistakes and ask questions, and even then get positive reinforcement, I think we'd have a lot more entrepreneurs in the world.
Oh, absolutely. I think that education system will take a lot of restructuring. But if you could create systems at school level which invoke curiosity, where you're thinking and
Yes.
when you're thinking and you're free to ask those questions and somebody's paying attention to you,
Yeah.
then you're capable of building on those things. So if schools can initiate it or at least encourage parents to follow some sort of a routine, because parents also cannot even Google and find how to invoke curiosity in your kids. So maybe if schools could take that lead and parents could be guided to take it
Correct.
further, I think it's going to change the way our education system does and what kind of kids we produce.
Yeah. And you obviously run a restaurant and you're constantly dealing with people. I'm sure people, are praising you, but also criticizing the food at the same time. How do you deal with what is customer success and engagement for you? How do you make that successful?
Very difficult. It's difficult to please people, but somehow if we've experienced a mix of both things. Since we're doing something which is impact centric, some customers are very forgiving.
Okay.
We make blunders. We of course do, right?
Yeah.
The industry. I mean, the best of the industry will make mistakes. So we make
Sure.
mistakes, but with the mission that we are known for, we do get forgiven at times. But in several times we don't, and you have to just do everything in your power to please them and make them forgive you, because that one person can completely break down your mission.
Absolutely.
If you are onto doing something bigger to bring about a bigger change in people's way of consumption, but these obstacles will always exist. So you have to do your best to kind of settle the situations, and we do that.
And you obviously can't be here all the time, so you have to train your staff a lot. What are the core values that you sort of upskill them with to make sure they're speaking to customers properly? Because communication at the end of the day is important at every single level, from taking an order to placing an order to how do you train them with that?
See, I'll give you a very, very inner detail of our organization. Since the beginning, we were not focused on hiring people from hotel management background.
Okay. That's
We
interesting.
hired people who looked kind, who had a certain level of kindness in them, and an interest to work and an interest to learn. We have the best story of a couple of individuals who've come in as cleaners and ended up heading kitchens
Wow.
in a matter of 3 years.
That's incredible.
Right? So we've found people who are good human beings. We've focused on honesty. So whenever they're communicating with guests, we said, be honest. Make a mistake, own up to that mistake. Training, of course, we don't really push English as a primary language. We said, speak in a language you're comfortable conveying your message with. Don't worry about anything. Don't be shy. You're all equals here.
Yeah.
Your guest is an equal to you. Treat them how a New Yorker wait staff would treat their guests.
Yes.
Talk to them as an equal. They respect you. You respect them. Make it that kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Eventually, we did also finally get more structure, because we are a very complex ingredient menu. So some of the items and ingredients on the menu are new to most of the educated masses also.
Like?
You'll see a masa harina flour,
Okay.
which is some form of Mexican flour. You'll see nutritional yeast that makes no sense to a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Yeah.
So some Mexican chilies, some fermentations, So for these people to understand them, you had to really colloquialize it. You had to
Correct.
bring it down to the context that they have grown up in, and not follow these stereotypical training methods, which, these agencies outside do. So knowing our people, we've developed something for our people ourselves, rather than depending on an agency.
Yeah.
And clear communication, respect, smile, happiness, and joy.
That's lovely. I love that.
Yeah.
So, what would your advice be to kids who want to become entrepreneurs or want to start, something in the plant-based industry? What is how should they go about it?
I think they should pick up one thing they love eating.
Okay.
It could be a candy they love eating. and or a chocolate they love eating, and just experiment at home. Try to experiment at home. Tell your parents you want to experiment something, and I'm sure the schools and the social system today supports child entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Right at Greener, I remember we've hosted several of these big workshops, not workshops, pop-ups rather, where
Okay.
kid entrepreneurs came in and sold their products, something that they made, whether it was a knitted something or some piece of art or something to eat. So I think we are getting there. I'm very confident that our new system is taking kids to that entrepreneurial journey.
Great. Thank you so much, Weber. It was so nice to have you.
Thank you, Devki, and I'm glad we could chat about this.
Absolutely.